So the next question is, someone asked, can you touch on the Mandela effect? And what this is about is there's a show, a website, and I believe it's called that. I believe it's called the MandelaEffect.com, or you could just type that in Google and you'll find it. And what this entails is that there are certain things that are going on in the reality that many people have a recollection that was actually not the way it went. And the reason why it's called the Mandela effect is because the author of the site says that in his recollection, Mandela had died in jail. Versus in this reality, Mandela had actually made it out of jail and, went through his whole process after that. And he has listed maybe 30 or 40 things, and the list keeps growing, about stuff that was going on in the past, like even things like Curious George having a tail versus now Curious George doesn't have a tail. Things like the mirror, mirror on the wall being changed to magic mirror on the wall. And that if you go and pull all the DVDs, now they all say magic mirror on the wall, when back in the day it was only mirror, mirror on the wall. So I think that some of the stuff that's being brought up is plausible, because there are some recollections in my mind that things were a certain way. And I've talked about this on other shows, that there's certain slight variations in the reality, and only if you're a stickler for detail do you really notice them. Things that have been changed as if there could be some kind of reality altering and reality swapping going on. And again, I'm just answering a question here, so I'm not really going to get deep into this topic, even though it is something that we've covered in past shows. But it's really about, well, how far has third party, and third party is of course organizations that are internally funded. Let's say like IBM, even Mercedes. Let's say companies that have a huge amount of influence and also a high influx of income, access to lots of different types of resources, and also a part of those resources being highly intelligent people, and then also the ability to blanket entire countries, entire planets, if you may, to sequester information and ability. How far have they truly taken it with how much the reality can be altered? But even more important than that is, what can we do about it? Like, I always find that to be the most important thing. Like, what can we do about it? Like, am I going to burn my brain up on thinking or coming to the conclusion that someone has a reality altering device that can land us in any point in time with slight variations to the reality where the past has been altered to create a different type of future? Or am I going to focus on more of, what am I now? Like, where am I at in my present state of consciousness? Because that's the only thing that you're going to be able to know if you know self has not been tampered with and altered. So while the entire reality can change around you, and many who have used chakra activating substances such as breath have witnessed, it still does not change per se who you are within. It can only enhance that. And we watch the reality melt, basically, pixelate. We watch objects that appear to be one thing shift entirely into something else as we're going through different wavelengths and frequencies. So what I'll say is, how much more different is that? That's the true Mandela effect. That's one that you're witnessing right now, is that you can be looking at, a plant, a mineral or something, begin to breathe, and then watch it pixelate and even watch it disappear, or watch it take another form, or even watch it attempt to communicate. But that is not something that the standard person witnesses in the reality on a day-to-day basis. And in relation to the Mandela effect, it's once again a realization of that the minds control things. So let's say, for instance, if you have 8 billion people in the world, and we're just using rough numbers here, and 4 billion of these people are starting to misconstrue certain things that have taken place in the reality, then all of a sudden those things will actually take place like they used to. They'll become less static and they'll actually change. And then people who are already on their own sound realization of what occurred will say, well, wait a minute, that change didn't happen. And if you notice, actually, the more because if you're a stickler for detail, you'll even see this kind of thing happening in the direct reality. Like I've seen certain signs that said certain things. The next time I rolled by there in 5 or 10 minutes didn't say the same thing. And it's only if you're kind of monitoring that. But the reason why that can occur is because it is a mainframe. And once we know that, like I would literally say to everyone is that don't look at this like a computer program like these cheap computers we're using in front of us. This is wet work. It's organic. But it's nature that is spitting out that code. And there again, there are many different things to interact with and many different life forms, but the most important one is you. So we can't get caught up in too much of looking, let's say, at the screen, because that's what the dream is like. We have to become the actor. We have to actually become the director, of the entire thing.